Oh, yes, we're going there. Somebody asked me a couple of days ago in a private message on a platform that I will not describe, not because it compromises who they are, but I really don't like this website, and they don't need any more publicity, not even the slightest mention. But they asked if someone is a virgin, they think they will never get screwed, they will never, or rather, if they do, it'll be when they're 30 or 40, like a certain movie that we all have seen and recall and think was so comedic. Is it worth waiting? And I said, well, it depends on a couple of factors. Although, of course, I would say no. None of these chicks in the modern era are worth waiting for because no one is assured a romance or someone that will be reciprocating of their attraction. You could find 90 chicks attractive and it wouldn't even make a difference because if they don't reciprocate, what is the difference between one that doesn't and does find you attractive, or rather does, whether you find attractive and don't find attractive? So I said, uh, it kind of goes like this: if you can afford to have a prostitute in an area where prostitution is legal, like a certain city in Nevada, and you think or do not foresee in the near future getting screwed by someone willfully, then do it. Don't trust. You're gonna have people on forums and in comment sections try to besmirch my position, but there's no shame in doing something where you're presented with an unwinnable situation. See, the unrealistic person who's online that tries to gas you up will say, "Oh my God, you're such a loser. You had to get screwed for the first time by someone you paid for. Ha 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 ha." No, you would be considered a loser by that person if you waited. You realize that we're in such a backwards, strange, screwed up era where people as young as 14, 15, 16 are getting mocked for not having had sex, are getting made fun of for something that, I would think if a person wanted to do it and was waiting to do it, it would be with someone that they actually cared about. But because we live in that era, you have to adjust in certain ways that you're not always comfortable with. So, in a lot of cases, you lie. You say, oh, yeah, this happened a year ago. This happened the year before that. But that's because it's really something a lot of people are ashamed of. And I think for good reason. Look at how society treats people. If a chick decides to not screw ever, they go, oh my God, she was waiting for the perfect one. How sweet. How beautiful. What a darling angel. And look, I do prefer someone who hasn't been with a bunch of different partners before me, but that's besides the point. But if it's a guy, he couldn't get anyone to have sex with him. That's how they roll. So if you can afford it and it's within your proximity and you don't believe that you have an immediate person willing to do it, then go ahead. Yes, we all like the idea of having that special perfect person or that person that we actually have some kind of romantic attachment to. And look, I'm someone who in the past had attachment to a whole bunch of chicks. But here's the thing about attraction. It's not a binding force that bends the will of other people, meaning that I can go out tomorrow and say, man, that broad walking down the street, she's really attractive. And if I ask her for a phone number, maybe she gives it to me. And in 2 weeks, if I say I'm ready to, get down in behind some pillows or whatever, she could easily say yes or no, but that's still going to be left up to chance of this other person. And if she says no, what are you going to do? uh, Cry and get on your knees and beg her to do it. No, you go to the next person, and after a certain number of different attempts to have this be done in a what people consider natural way, you get sick of it. You say, "Man, this is stupid. I'm gonna, actually be that movie that people make fun of if I don't get this over with." Now, when the people who try to push back against this idea, right, they say, "Step your game up." They give you all this dumb advice, have all this money, own this, own that, blah, 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 blah. And my simple question is, how much is too much? In the sense that, does someone really need to own, I don't know, a tenth of $1 million or uh, have some Ferrari just to get laid? Really? The answer to that actually is no, because you can get laid for under $100 in a lot of cases. So it's it's actually a concrete answer. The difference is they're trying to attempt to shame you for doing, and this is kind of what I don't like about modern society. We're often put in these lose-lose situations. You get screwed by a prostitute. Ha ha ha, you have to pay for it. You don't get screwed by anybody. Ha ha, you're a virgin. So you have no way of winning. Now, the difference is when you are a person who feels stuff more internally, like myself, you say, well, would I feel more ashamed of never having done it and having the resources to pay someone to do it, or people knowing that I paid for it and trying to mock me over having paid to get it done? I'll go with the former. So when that mindset is in place, you kind of don't care because it's your life, and these people they don't have your best interest at heart. These online dudes, the only thing they're interested in is typing stuff on a keyboard and trying to get you. But the other point I want to make, which is just as significant, is that there's a lot of fear mongering that goes on. So people will say, a prostitute, she's been with countless men, dozens of men, hundreds of men. And my simple retort to that is, do you have a way to confirm that whoever the woman that you claim this guy will eventually receive, if he just waits and is patient forever, has not been with multiple partners? I know a chick who literally described seeing a guy that she saw attractive, and then they just jumped in bed a short time afterward. So this idea of this hard work pays off and everybody does it is a load of trash. If you're not believed to be attractive by enough chicks to where they want to screw you, you end up getting overlooked. And for some of us, that's really an unacceptable thing. But we retort by simply doing whatever we can to get what we want, even if it's through methods that we're not always satisfied with. Really, when you take away the narrative that the only chicks who have been screwed by multiple men, several or more, are prostitutes, and you accept the fact that a lot of the ones who are not doing it for money are not these innocent, darling angels that wait for the perfect partner, someone they've known for a long time before they hop into bed with, then really there becomes almost a blurred line between the code of ethics of both sides. And that's not to say that modern chicks are prostitutes. I'm not trying to equate that. What I am saying is there are a lot of things that are done on their part that maybe are not as bad as prostitutes, but they still lean in that same direction. Because remember, sexual promiscuity used to be a bad thing. Having sex with people you weren't married with or known for some long time used to be frowned upon. But now people just jump between sheets. And it happens a lot more with chicks because they're oftentimes more in charge of picking the partner. You can have a broad who lives in a crappy neighborhood, who owns nothing, be able to stand toe to toe with the man who's got some great home and car and well-paying job simply because of her level of attractiveness. Something that she didn't earn, something that society decided she was entitled to because of the way she looked. So all in all, if you can afford it and you don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, I'd recommend doing it through this method. And just remember, these chicks that are not prostitutes are not all clean and you know people of divine virtue who are waiting for the perfect man or for someone like yourself to sweep them off their feet. And that's why I said a lot of people like to live in a Disney movie of everything just pays off if you wait X amount of years or time. And I told you before, I'm a person who believes in reality. So if I see a circumstance that doesn't change year after year and I get impatient, I'm just going to knock it out. I'm just going to say, you know what? Let's go over here, get this done, and never have to worry about it again. If you get screwed once by a prostitute, you'll never have to worry about internally knowing you're a virgin ever again. If you say to yourself, oh my God, it was by a prostitute, ask yourself, how many of the chicks that are prostitutes are practicing things such as not screwing people they're not married to, not screwing multiple people, not price gouging a dude, taking him for all he's worth and giving him nothing back in return other than their appearance and sex. When you equate what a lot of these other broads are doing with what prostitutes are doing, you don't feel as bad, and it sucks because the part of me that's not as disillusioned as the other one says, it's sad people even have to seriously think about, you know, getting with someone in that manner that they don't love. But I don't believe in love as something that most people are going to get, or at least most guys are going to have any easy time getting. And a lot of people end up having to jump through so many hoops for something that I just think should be available. See, the thing about a lot of guys is that they want to have families, they want to get married, they want to have all this extra stuff that, they genuinely have a higher interest than just screwing. But while you're being denied that, you're also being laughed at and mocked for another thing you can't control, which is if someone wants to jump in bed with you. So I'd say get it over with. You can do whatever you want.